Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samaa News. Here are today's headlines. Pakistan has formally signed the Islamabad Memorandum of Understanding as the official mediator between the United States and Iran, marking a significant diplomatic milestone in efforts to end regional tensions. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif endorsed the agreement after it had already been signed by US President Donald Trump and Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian. According to the Prime Minister's office, the signing formalizes Pakistan's role as mediator in the understanding reached between Washington and Tehran.
Pakistan says US President Donald Trump and Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian have digitally signed an Islamabad Memorandum of Understanding aimed at ending the conflict involving the US, Israel, and Iran and reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, in a statement, said both leaders endorsed the agreement, with Pakistan acting as mediator alongside Qatar. He said the MoU takes immediate effect and includes steps to halt hostilities and restore maritime flow through the key energy route. According to Sharif, the agreement outlines a broader framework for further negotiations on nuclear-related concerns and long-term peace, while formal discussions are expected to continue in Switzerland later this month. The United States has read out a 14-point interim agreement with Iran aimed at halting hostilities and opening the Strait of Hormuz, paving the way for a 60-day negotiation period starting Friday in Switzerland. The document outlines an immediate ceasefire, mutual respect for sovereignty, and a phased end to military operations. It also proposes the gradual lifting of the US naval blockade, restoration of maritime traffic, and a framework for Iran's safe commercial shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. The agreement includes commitments to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons, maintain existing nuclear status during talks, and establish a mechanism to resolve enrichment issues under international supervision. It also envisions sanctions relief, access to frozen Iranian assets, and potential economic reconstruction support. China has welcomed the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the United States and Iran, urging all parties to fully respect their commitments under the agreement. The Chinese Foreign Ministry said the deal should be implemented in good faith to ensure lasting stability, particularly in global energy and maritime security. It emphasized the importance of safeguarding shipping routes through the Strait of Hormuz, a key corridor for global oil trade. Beijing said the concerns of the international community must be considered to prevent further disruptions to global markets. US President Donald Trump says he appreciated Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin for maintaining a neutral stance during the recent US-Iran conflict, saying their non-interference helped prevent further escalation. Speaking at a G7 press briefing in Evian-les-Bains, France, Trump said both leaders refrained from actions such as supplying weapons or escalating tensions, adding that their position made it a lot better. He contrasted their approach with that of some US allies, while noting ongoing concerns around strategic waterways such as the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, Iran's chief negotiator, Mohammad Bakr Kalibaf, says that the Strait of Hormuz will not return to pre-war conditions following a peace deal with the United States. Speaking on Iranian media, Kalibaf said Iran would still operate within international law and rules of navigation, but insisted the situation in the strategic waterway has fundamentally changed. He also referenced a reported US-Iran memorandum, saying $300 billion in investment has been allocated for Iran, including reconstruction funding. President Donald Trump has said that he backed the Iran peace deal to avoid what he called an economic catastrophe. Speaking at the G7 summit in France, Trump argued that markets responded positively to prospects for peace. On the Lebanon conflict, Trump said Israel could take a softer approach and urged Benjamin Netanyahu to show more restraint. He also thanked Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin for what he described as their neutrality during the conflict with Iran. He said both leaders helped ease tensions as world leaders welcomed the new ceasefire agreement. US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has announced a comprehensive review of American troop deployments across Europe, signaling a possible reassessment of Washington's military footprint on the continent. Speaking at NATO headquarters in Brussels, Hegseth said the review could last up to 6 months and would include consultations with the US Congress. He also warned that the United States could withhold part of its NATO contributions if member states fail to meet their defense spending commitments, criticizing
criticizing what he described as free-riding allies that rely heavily on American military support.
Global oil prices fall after reports of an interim US-Iran peace agreement aimed at ending months of conflict and stabilizing energy flows. Brent crude dropped as much as 1.9% in early Asian trading, reversing earlier gains driven by geopolitical tensions and supply concerns. The benchmark stood at $78.07, still higher than pre-conflict levels, but well below this week's peak, above $81. Asian equities rallied on improved risk sentiment, with Japan's Nikkei 225 and South Korea's Kospi hitting record highs. US futures also rose in pre-market trading, reflecting optimism over easing global energy risks.
Leaders of the G7 nations have called for a ceasefire in Lebanon and welcomed progress toward an interim agreement aimed at ending the conflict involving Iran. Meeting at the G7 summit in France, leaders also pledged to diversify global energy supply routes to reduce reliance on the Strait of Hormuz, a key artery for international oil shipments. The discussions come as details of a US-Iran ceasefire arrangements continue to emerge ahead of its expected formal announcement. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching Samaa News.